Hello and welcome to another glorious read. I am your host, Aspen M. Sage. Let's get into it. I know last week I did not post anything, and I had a valid reason. It was because I ended up coming down with a serious case of sinus infection, and I could not speak, and it ended up taking my voice away. So it's hard to kind of do a podcast without a voice. As you can hear, I'm still a little bit crinkly and nasal sounding, but I feel better enough to do this. And because I did not post anything last week, I am posting 2 reviews in this podcast. So last week I did one, and I didn't do one, but I did read a book. I end up going back to a Lexi C.Foss's book. I love how Lexi does standalone, but yet they are series. So I could read any book in the series as I want to, and that is what I did. I actually did the Lexi C.Foss's Carnage Island book. So there's actually 4 main characters like Lexi does. Sometimes she has the 3 alphas and the 1 omega. Sometimes she does the 1 omega, 1 alpha. So this one ended up being the 3 plus 1, because she does do a beautiful work of the Omegaverus. And she also does very good, or I think they're nice, short, quick reads. They're a good palate cleaner. I love how she does her books, and she's definitely one of my top authors I like to read. Lexi definitely does like a good world building. I love her characters. Her characters have depth. You can see the different characteristics of them, and they're just funny to be around. Like, I know they're not real people, but you kind of feel like they are, and you know them personally. So, like I said, this is the Carnage Island book. We have our four main characters and our 3 alphas. We have Tieran, Keys, and Volt, and we have our female character Clove. Her name is really more extended. She likes being called Clove, so that's what her alphas call her. So Carnage Island is basically this island for feral shifters, the wolves that have gone bad, who've done crimes, and they get sent to this remote island. Of course, that is not always the case. There are some bad wolves on the island, but Tieran and his 2 other alpha pack run a pack full of other alphas. So these guys are top of the food chain, then you have your other alphas, and you have their alphas mates. Tieran is supposed to be the head of this Blackwood pack, I think it was, or Black Mountain pack. And of course, Clove gets sucked into this. So to start on her story, basically, Clove is part of another 2 packs that were supposed to be merging. These males have harems, but only one eligible or most adaptable female gets to mate with the alphas. So she has been trained for this her whole entire life. Through the beginning of the story, it's her and her wolf kind of talking back and forth. Her wolf wants out, her wolf wants to run. And Clove has kept it suppressed for 20-something years. What's not completely healthy. And it's up to her mate to shift her first to connect with her wolf, because that is what she was raised to believe on. So during this whole thing, she is presented to the alpha at this time, who is like the son of the leader of the other pack. She is there to him. He is talking to her, and she's just standing there taking it, and then comes her shift. Well, when she shifts into a completely white wolf, and that is not normal. Her color is supposed to be black, and she doesn't understand. And they automatically know that she is a Carnage wolf. She doesn't understand because her father and her mother are these kind of breeds. Her mother tried to say, hey, she was taken willingly by a Carnage wolf and ended up pregnant, and she thought it was her mates. Basically, some triggers would be hit here where her mother is murdered in front of her. She is also taken unwillingly in an assault way by the other alphas. And of course, because now she's in wolf form, she cannot defend herself, and they can tell the council that she is feral and that she must be sent to Carnage Island. And of course, because she can't shift back, she can't say, hey, I did nothing wrong, I didn't kill my mother, what they claim that she did. they said that she was so mad and furious and enraged that she attacked her own mother. Of course, that's not the case. And her wolf is completely different than the woman part of her. Her woman half thinks that she is alpha. That is what she was raised to be. She is an alpha woman. Her wolf, on the other hand, is like, oh no, woman, we are an omega. We have our own standards. But her wolf is also a little playful. Like she's very crafty. Like in the book, when they went to go drop her off at Carnage Island off a boat, she's being very submissive and stuff, and very sweet and very kind. But as soon as they open the cage, she goes through for one of the men's throats. So her wolf's very sly. Like it's a very foxy kind of thing to me. She is dropped off the other side of the island, but she's dropped in the middle of the water, and she's drowning because she has dissociated from her wolf to the point where they can't communicate. Like she can't tell her wolf to swim, and her wolf doesn't know how to because it's still getting used to the body. She ends up getting saved by a man. Well, this man ended up being one of the three alphas. Volt, you will hear them revolt, or the three alphas be like V, C, and T, just to cut their names short, I guess. So it's kind of funny how these three alphas already know that she's dissociation from her wolf, and how that she's basically coming to be. Tieran talks to his father a lot throughout the book, who is another alpha, who's saying, hey, this is the actual situation with it. And she's very drawn to these men. And of course, at Carnage Island, they have a reputation of when a new female comes, there's a game where she introduces each other to the pack, and they get to basically chase her down, and she gets to choose which males are worthy. Well, because she's in wolf form, she's unable to do that. So they take her to their house, and she becomes very comfortable there. She's running through their house. She's on their beds, rolling all over them. She even goes into the big alpha's bed and makes a mess because she's covered in sea and sand and salt water and just all that gunk and stuff. And she's just making a mess in his bed. Of course, when he comes home and finds her there, he's not too thrilled, and he gives her a bath. So they do warm up to her. They call her Sweetling and Little Wolf and stuff like that. She is just like all over it. She loves it. But they're also trying to get her human half and her wolf half to reconnect to each other. And finally, Tieran says that enough. He ends up growling to get her to shift back. Once she does, she kind of like attacks him a little bit and yells at him and smacks him, and then they kind of hush him down. Well, after that happens, lo and behold, she doesn't know she's an Omega, and she goes into heat. Of course, there is a lot of play in that. But Tieran can't mark her yet because her heat cycle is short, and he needs an heir to return home. So he's like, I have to resist, and the other two can't mark her either until they get his approval. So she's like, I feel incomplete. Of course, there's also mayhem among the island because they smell an Omega in heat and they want her. And it actually falls into the main part of the story. So Tieran and his pack of Volt and Keys has, they're trying to figure out how to get off the island. Like, they weren't even there to begin with, but they were. So they got, like Clove, charged with crimes that weren't actually true. One of them being that Tieran killed a female that was gifted to him as a concubine, and he wouldn't accept it. And it was actually the father of the girl killed her. It's a weird complex, but regardless, the council doesn't know that they have all these amenities. They don't understand that these wolves are actually so more high-tech in preparing themselves for war under Tieran's Keys and Volt's watchful eye. So basically things come together, and they are more determined to get Clove to stay with them, or at least Keys and Volt is. They keep telling Tieran, like, you need to buy her. Like, this is our Omega. We need to keep her. And he's like, no, not yet. Things aren't right. So there's also another twist in the story where Clove was actually sent there. She wasn't supposed to make it. They find out that her mother was actually a Carnage Wolf. They find out that there's a traitor in their pack, Tieran's, Keys, and Volt's pack, of the younger wolves that they kind of dictate. They find out that there's another alpha that's causing problems, and it all comes together. There's a lot of there's some killing involved, there's some more pack disputes, and then it comes down to the end of the story where obviously Tieran, Keys, and Volt's claim Clove. She returns to her old pack as basically their Luna for an Omega, and she has the men that tortured and killed her mother killed. She basically tells the alphas that disowned her and told her that she was rogue and stuff. She has them punished, and her old mate, basically, he backs off and says, nope, you're right. This was never right in the first place. He points at his father and says, I've only followed your direction for so long. And they leave off the book with actually Clove is pregnant when she does return. She ends up carrying one of the children of the said alphas. And they get to return back to the Black Mountain Pack or Black Forest Pack, whatever it is. I think it's Black Mountain Pack or Black Ridge Mountain Pack. Anyway, so it's actually a really good story. It does evolve a lot around Clove being portrayed as something else, and of course Tieran trying to claim his alpha spot. And of course Volt and Keys are there with him to help him. So Volt and Keys are definitely like his betas, but they're still alphas. So they basically help him. Keys is more of a hack man. He's a blackmailer. So that's how they also make Merlin, and Volt is more of a killer. Of course, Volt has a bad story, as every bad boy does. So much so that his father took another Omega after being mated to a beta, and then he killed the beta. And Volt knows his real mother, but he's not associated with her. There's a big story. So it's actually a really good book. I suggest picking it up. Like I said, it's a nice quick read. It's a very good story. I like it. I gave it a 5 stars. Spice level, it's the usual 4.5 for Lexi's books. They're not too overbearing. Some sections are a lot, but not too over description for the book it is, for the size it is. So definitely a pickup, I suggest. Of course, my favorite character is probably Volt because of the whole bad boy story. I will give Keys props though, because throughout the rest of the book he is very reluctant. He does a lot of play by himself. By play I mean he kind of tortures himself and ramps up his lust until he can't do it no more. Anyway, so the next review that I have is actually called The Half-Blood Academy. Is called The Magic Trials is book 1 by Xuemie. So we have actually 5 main characters. Marigold, who is most of the book that is spoken through, is a human girl, supposedly, who gets picked off the streets. So in this book, the Half-Blood Academy is full of human shifters, your vampires, your fays, your werewolves, your witches, and then you have the Half-Blood Academy, what is full of your demigod descendants. So the demigods fight against Lucifer, or the gods are fighting against Lucifer. And the world is kind of split in half. Now, instead of being like the heavens and earth, this one is, you got the dominions, and then you have the demons, and the demigods, or the demigod descendants, are actually more the Greek mythology. So you have Zeus's descendants, Poseidon's descendants, you also have Hades' descendants, you also have Ares' descendants, and Ares is constantly the god of war that fights. So Marigold is with her two friends. One's a witch, young witch. One's a werewolf. And they're hunting, and they run into a demon in the beginning of the book. Marigold kind of casts a little magic, and she goes, that's not possible. She gets attention. She comes back into their place called the Crack, what's basically like the slums of New York City in this book. I don't know. It's like a place where everybody who's hiding from everybody kind of goes. Like, you have your gangs and stuff like that. It's kind of people that are hiding from your demigods and the demons. It's kind of like a neutral zone. That aren't completely involved in the war. They kind of go against their daily lives. Marigold runs into trouble with a werewolf pack and a human pack, and she kind of goes on a killing spree. So she's a really good huntress in this book. Well, when she shows up, the Dominion show up to collect the witch and the werewolf to send them to the other academy. And of course, Marigold's like, no, absolutely not. I won't let you take them. This is my family. She's already been abandoned multiple times, so she doesn't want to lose anybody else. Lo and behold, one of the demigods show up, and the demigod is actually the demigod of war. So it's a descendant, or a close descendant to Ares. I think it's like his son or something like that. Axel. And Axel is very drawn to Marigold, and Marigold is, of course, this little Spitfire. Why she's one of my favorite characters. And probably the favorite character, not just because it's read through her, but the favorite character through the book. She's a little Spitfire. She's constantly fighting with everybody. She's trying to be like, no, I don't want to go to this academy and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no, you're going to go. Of course, she shows up at this academy, and there's, of course, mean girls and stuff like that, like any school, who is a descendant of Demetrius, or Demeter, of the goddess of harvest and stuff like that. And she's a really mean kid. And so they got to go through a trial. And this trial is basically a flame that tells somebody if they are actually a true descendant of a god or a goddess, to gain powers into the school and continue in the school. There's people that die. There's people that don't die. She, of course, meets two other kids who are descendants. And she also meets two more of the four demigods. She meets Zach and Paxton. Zach is obviously a descendant of Zeus, and Paxton is the descendant of Poseidon. They're also very interested in Marigold. So Marigold has this ability that she doesn't understand why, when a demigod releases their aura, people just collapse to the ground. They are kneeling, they are bowing. She's the only one that can resist it, and it kind of irks them. They don't understand it, and they don't like it, because they don't like change. They don't like why this girl is different. And she's like, I'm just a human girl. Leave me be. I will leave this school. You'll never hear from me again. Just let me go back to my quiet life. And they're like, no, you're going to stay. You're a project now. And she's like, no. Like, she's swearing at them and everything. So she gets into this trial. And basically, if she doesn't pass this trial with the blade, she could die. It's like a really gruesome death. So basically, it's her turn. And instead of the blade touching her, this flame jumps out at her and consumes her body, basically. And she has all 12 symbols of the gods and goddesses on her body, and they don't understand what's going on, how she has all 12 symbols. And this thing happens where Axel, Paxton, and Zach are all attracted to her. She is the only woman that can resist them. She's the only woman that's like mate worthy to them. Like, they can carry on their descendants and stuff. They don't know what she is, though. So she's this big mystery. And, of course, Marigold's like, just let me go home. I don't want to be here. Let me see my friends. You know, she's, like, fighting them tooth and nail. Of course, all the other girls at school are bullying her, and all the other guys are bullying her. Axel kisses her. Zach kisses her. And Paxton does, because they kind of save her life. Or, well, he wants to, but she's kind of fights with Paxton a lot. Her and Paxton do not get along at all. And he's like, you don't want to make an enemy at me, you know? And she's like, I don't give a fuck who you are, kind of thing. And he's like, well, Hector's on my side, and Hector is the god of death. And, or the demigod of Hades. and basically his touch can kill anybody. So Marigold is sleeping, and she has this dream of a sexy man. She goes, God, I just wish I could run away. And he calls her his little lamb and how he's going to protect her and everything like that. Well, she wakes up freezing cold. Paxton's there with ice and water, and he drags her around, tells her basically he doesn't care if she gets dressed or not. He will drag her through the whole school naked, embarrassing her. So Paxton's main goal in this, at least this first book, is to break Marigold's spirit. He wants her to be obedient. He wants her to surrender. He wants to bend her and see how much she can take. Marigold fights him 100%. Axel just loves the little warrior she is. Zach is like the oldest demigod, and he's just like, hey, she's cool. I want to be with her too. And of course, Hector is nowhere to be seen in this story. So Paxton basically embarrasses Marigold, shows up at classes, and then it comes to a battle class, basically. She's like, awesome, this is something I'm good at. I'm a hunter. I got this. She meets two of the Dominions there, and they're like, yeah, we're just your class. We're your teachers. You can't be all buddy-buddy with us. And she's like, yeah, right. I know you guys, you ripped me from my home. I'm going to fucking treat you the way I want to because you guys ruined my life. And they're like, oh, come on, it's not that bad. You're just a mystery that seemed to catch all four demigods' fucking, what do you call it? Their minds. They go crazy around you. So, yeah, you're going to stay here, and we're just going to let this go through, and you're just going to wait until they're bored of you. And she's like, I just want to go home. Like, she reminds me of, like, every time somebody goes to work and they're just like, okay, I'm ready. I want to go home. Please don't keep me here. Like, every time. Like, she just has that mentality that she's just like, no, I got a home to go to and a bed to call me and my comfort zone, and that doesn't involve being here. Of course, Paxton shows up, makes her life more difficult. He basically tells her she's going to fight different students, and she gets to one kid who is really built. He's got it out for her because he's part of one of the cliques that basically picked on her and stuff. Of course, Marigold tries. She realizes this kid was basically raised from birth to be a soldier, and he just beats the crap out of Marigold, and her friends are yelling at her to yield, to surrender anything, and of course that's not Marigold's daughter. She's like, absolutely not. And then Paxton was going to call off this kid. I think his name was Jack. But Marigold was enraged by that. She's like, absolutely, I don't want his pity. Her magic awakens. She beats the hell out of Jack. She's like pretty sure he's dead. Then she comes after Paxton, and then she just collapses kind of thing, and all the other demigods show up except for Hector. And Axel's pissed off because this is his woman. He saved her. He wants to be with her. Zach's mad. They're telling Paxton that he can't no longer have claim to her, and he's like, I helped save her, so of course I do. She's our woman, and they're like, you put her through this. Marigold hears what's going on. She's got a shield around her. They can't heal her. She calls upon her magic somehow to heal her body. She's still got a shield, and then all of a sudden she's like, I'm out of here. Somehow her magic transports her away. And of course, the three demigods are like, where'd she go? Like, come back, blah, blah, blah. They're like, oh no, we lost her, and she's on the loose, and we don't know where she is. She comes into this place like Manhattan. She runs into a group of demons. She's starting to fight them, and then they start to think maybe she's this like long lost demon princess kind of thing, and she's like, oh, come on. Please, no. She goes, did I really escape this school just to be taken to to hell? She's like, no, please don't let this be my life. And at the last second before she's being stolen away, this guy shows up, another demigod, and she's just like, oh, great. They found me already. And then she finds out it's actually a different man, all complete. And then once she sees his face, she realizes it's the man from his dreams, or her dreams. And she's like smitten with him already. She's just like, that's my dream boy. And then they're starting to talk, and he's like, you don't remember who I am or what my name is, do you? And she goes, no, I don't. She's like, just from our dreams. And he's like, I'm Hector. And he goes, I'm the demigod of death. And she's just like, oh, great. Another one. She's like, at least this one's more stable than the last three. She's just like really smitten with him. She goes to touch Hector, and Hector's like, no, you can't touch me because any woman that touches me dies. And he's like, we'll just keep it dreams. He goes, if that's satisfying enough, we can still touch in dreams and be happy. That's not good enough for Marigold's book. She goes over, she touches his face, because she's like, you know what, every other thing I've dealt with. She goes, I absorbed lightning from Zach. I can deal with the fire from Axel. She's like, I've dealt with water from Paxton. She's like, we're going to defy the odds one more time. She touches Hector, and he's like, you're touching me. And she goes, yeah, I am. And he's just like, you are my, like, perfect woman. He swoops her away. So these books are really good. I'm starting the next one. I think it's like Magic Secrets or something like that. These books are definitely really good. I thought it was going to be more like a Y fantasy kind of thing, but this one's got a little bit of spice. I would definitely say it to be more of maybe a 4 in this book. So she does have an intimate encounter with Hector in her dreams. Of course, she feels things when Axel's around her, Paxton, Zach. They feel things, they see things. But Marigold is definitely a little Spitfire. Like, I love a Spitfire woman in books. Like, she knows when she's just, like, okay to be the damsel in distress. So, like, she does in the end of the book, she steps back and she's like, she's gonna let her knight fight for her after she just basically killed a bunch of demons. And, of course, he finishes them off, and she's proud of it, and she's, lets her pride stay in. So, yeah, it's definitely a good book. I give it a 5-star reading. It's definitely something that I recommend somebody picking up. So, with that being said, I am going to end this podcast. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. I hope you go do something nice. I hope you get whatever food or sweets you are craving. And I hope you enjoy just a nice, beautiful day, something. But thank you for listening in. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. And always thank you for your support for listening in, and I will catch you on the next podcast. Thank you, and bye-bye.